time for the team that's gon' hustle for the green. All we know is grind till the dough come. This the Bang Dot Radio Show. We controlling the globe and we second to no one. Every time we emerge, we putting that work in. Bang Dot do it for the culture, putting on for the city that's 24/7. And we showing love like we supposed to. And we keep making moves by coastal. None of those suckers didn't believe, but I told you. Bang Dot about to be a household name. And Bang Dot mean we about more change. You don't even know just how I really get. You're rocking with the best, so tuned in where you better be. Plus we getting fancy like Nancy on every single day of the week. And chopping game like a Cherokee, ballin' like Odell. Trying to step more meal. Networking every way is about to be a movie. Gotta go big, it's the only way to do it. It's a conglomerate, we getting to it. Plus we got heat for the streets while you puffin' on the cook shop leaf. Riding out on the interstate, we got indies and majors. We international players, all about getting paid. Make sure to tune in and tap in with the movement, cause it's about to go down. Shout out Discover, this captain of the mothership. If you ain't know, then you know now. We about to get bang down, bang down, bang down, bang down, bang down, bang down. Bang Down Radio Show. It's long shout out.
I can't stand you sometimes.
Alright, y'all, we're tuning in for another episode of Bang Dot Radio Show. I'm your host, and this is my second interview follow-up with Miss Jasmine Lucky, who is the owner of Jazz It Up Skin and Body Spa.
Yes.
Last time I had trouble remembering it. But it's right there.
Yeah.
We're in Fayetteville, Georgia. I think I took a different route when I came here.
The first time, did you?
The last time, yeah, because I came over and cut over and all that stuff. But yeah, it was interesting. It was scenic too, though. I kept going from city to like country, country. I kept seeing the farm life and everything. I was like, okay, but I could tell where I got off on like the Locust Grove. What was it? 218 exit.
Oh, it took you that way?
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to come up the other way because it was a quicker way.
Oh, okay.
But with me stopping and all that, I'm like, I might as well just take the other way.
Okay, yeah.
But I've seen where, this whole area is growing.
Yeah, it is. Fayette County in general, I think initially they tried to kind of keep it like a hidden gem, but as people, retire and move to Atlanta, they don't necessarily want to be in the city, so it has definitely grown.
Yeah.
Tons of new businesses are opening up in the area. We don't want it to get too congested, but it's definitely a thriving city.
Yeah. I could tell. But let's see here. Okay, so for everybody out there, y'all can go and watch the first interview to get the backstory. But pretty much, let me see if I can sum it up real quick though. So like around 2017, right? You wanted a career change.
Yes.
You was in the healthcare field for like years.
Too many years. Yes.
And you wasn't feeling passionate about it anymore.
Right.
You wanted to do makeup. And then you took the Paul Mitchell School when you were driving from, I guess, this area all the way to Alpharetta.
Yes. You got a good memory.
No, I said I watched it.
Okay.
I watched the interview. No, this is not a good memory.
Okay.
I watched the interview. No, I watched the interview in its entirety because I don't want to ask the same questions. I don't like asking the same questions when I do follow-up interviews.
Gotcha.
Because I want to show the growth. Especially like highlighting that. But yeah, so you started, your venture, didn't really do the makeup and got into doing skincare. And, started out at the house, son moves home, forces you really to move to a location.
Yes, I had to step out and figure it out.
We're actually in for anyone who has watched the first video, we're in a different location, the same plaza, but just bigger location, and y'all see that with the B-roll footage as well. So let's get into it then, because that was a 2019 interview, which was a great interview. I went back and watched it. I think this time around I'm gonna let you really. I don't think I was over talking, but I think I could have allowed you to talk way more.
Okay.
No, because as we do stuff, and like I critique myself.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I was interjecting a whole lot. let me, you know what I'm saying, let the conversation ride out.
I didn't see it that way.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, maybe that's just me being me.
Okay.
Okay. But I'm gonna definitely let you really explain yourself.
Okay.
If you know what I'm saying, you need that space to do so.
Gotcha.
So let's say, let's pick up where we left off. One bigger location, expanding.
Yes.
And not only this location, but a second location. But before we get into that part, let's talk about the expansion here.
Okay. So I think, and I can't remember when it was. I don't think it was cold outside when we did our interview in 2019, but probably maybe 3-4 months after that, I realized that I was outgrowing that space. And my clientele had grown so much that I was literally working 7 days a week. So I said, okay, I'm thinking to myself, I just need a little bit more space, and I can handle everything on my own, because I just figured that I would be what they consider a solo esthetician. You just come in, you have your clients, you work alone. So I moved into this space, and as you can see, it quickly filled up too. But the clientele was steadily increasing, and I could not handle it. So I decided to start hiring in early 2020.
Okay.
So I brought on 2 other estheticians with me, and it's just been a journey since then. We have 2 estheticians and 2 massage therapists, currently looking to bring in 2 other estheticians as well, just because the volume is so much.
Yeah.
But being in this space, probably before this year is over, we'll probably move to a bigger space. So I'm hoping that will be the last move, and that the space will be big enough to accommodate
new growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
that's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I see a lot of businesses who focus on their business that way, to where that's where they have to go. Because sometimes people don't want to handle all that, because
it's a lot. Yeah.
not only are you providing services to clients,
Yeah.
but you're also focused on management as well.
It's a lot. It is a lot. It's a journey. It's a process.
It is.
But I do believe that if you have the right team, and we don't always know if it's the right team or not, but it's definitely trial and error. But if you have the right team, then that makes your job easier.
Yeah.
So that's really what I'm focusing on, is just building this team so that I don't have to work as hard, and I can focus on some of the back end business part of it. But then I have clients too who, I have to serve. Yeah, we build relationships and all of those things. So just trying to find the balance.
Yeah, it is. I can tell you, my counseling business, I had mentioned it the last time.
It's you and your wife.
My mother-in-law.
Oh, okay.
We just did like 11 years.
Wow.
This past year was the highest year we've done. We did like close to $800,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that because of COVID, you think?
No, it's because we got some more contracts.
Okay.
And we're gonna get into that too. I want to talk about that as well. But I definitely understand it from the management standpoint, because like I cut everybody check. I'm a payroll guy.
Okay.
Also to make sure licensing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Wife handles contracts. Mother-in-law handles clinicians and making sure they're doing everything properly according to how we want to do them. And then I also handle admin people as well.
Okay.
So it's a lot, but like you said, once you build a team, we have a solid team, we have a solid foundation, it's easier to do stuff. It's easier for me to just do stuff because I don't have to be there every day.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, you gotta love it. When you don't have to be somewhere every day,
I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah.
To have. So, as we just mentioned, like COVID and the pandemic, I'm like 2020. That's like February and March is when it started really coming out. So how did that affect the business and the operations of it?
So, prior to COVID, things were going very well. Busy. And once the shutdown happened, of course, I, like everyone else, had to close. And I think during that time, probably people who weren't necessarily seeking out these kind of self-care type of services were literally calling me every day. I'm like, man, we're in a pandemic. Everybody is shut down. But after a couple weeks, people were tired of being in the house. They wanted to get out, start doing things. So COVID helped in that sense, where people who probably, you know, having to wear the mask started having skin issues and looking for natural alternative things as far as detoxing and just keeping themselves up, so to speak. So once we opened again, it's been full throttle.
How long was the shutdown process for y'all?
I think maybe about 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe about 2 months.
Georgia's different from a lot of these other places.
Yeah. And even now, it's funny because, you know, we're still going through it, but I think people have just decided that they're tired of this. This is, you know, not an issue, but we still have to be careful.
Yeah, we still have to be careful now.
Yeah.
I'm like, the cases have gone down significantly, and like, you know, of course, over the last year, we can look at the data where they spiked and stuff like that, but like, you know, I still tell people, you know, be cautious and things of that nature.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, it's not something fun to have. I got COVID back in 2020 July, and my wife's like, yeah, you got COVID. So I quarantined myself from everybody else in the house. And
Did they get it too?
No, they didn't.
Okay.
Because I quarantined myself.
Okay.
I was in the house wearing a mask and everything, didn't want to, you know, infect them like that. Now, it was interesting because one of my older daughters, my second oldest daughter, she ended up getting COVID, but not from me. Later on, was it last year? Because I got it in 2020, she got it in 2021. And I guess from school, whatever, but she was asymptomatic.
Okay.
She didn't even know she had it.
Okay.
Until, you know, we had taken her to the doctor and all that stuff, whatever, but no one else ended up getting it. Now, I did natural stuff, though, to, like, combat it.
Gotcha.
I did, like, the steaming, and I had, orange peels and stuff like that. I was ingesting that in 15 minutes or so. I was eating way more fruits and vegetables, soups, things of that nature, and cutting out a whole lot of processed foods and things of that nature. And I was able to, like, you know, get over it and stuff like that. Of course, you know, I was tired and fatigued.
Yeah.
But like some of the other stuff that other people have experienced, and I have asthma.
Okay.
So normally that type of situation would affect us way more.
Absolutely.
But because I like to do natural stuff,
Okay.
regardless, then my immunity and the way that I look at stuff is a little different than everybody else.
That's good, and that's a blessing for you that it wasn't nearly as bad. My husband actually had it. He was in the hospital for about 2 weeks, and ironically enough, he didn't realize how close he was to not being here anymore. He was just that sick. He was in the ICU. I mean, he was really sick. So we had to quarantine while he was in the hospital. And I never got it, which is funny enough, but my 8-year-old got it. And my 16-year-old, she didn't get it. But we just all, during this time, we probably quarantined for like 35 days. Just off and on to make sure that everyone was healthy. But it kind of forces you to sit down and take things into perspective, and you want to just make sure that you're healthy and that you're taking care of yourself. And you know, I know me personally, I'm always running here doing this, and you got to take a moment to just stop, because when something happens, depending on how healthy you were before that something happens, can determine the outcome. So if you know, run down and not taking care of yourself, and you come in contact with this virus, it can be pretty bad for you.
Yeah, and then the flip side of that, like the economic of COVID and how it affects businesses.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't remember, like I know when I posted the interview, it was like December 31st of 2019. But I don't know if I had told you at the time, we had just started a hemp business.
Yeah, you did tell me that.
We actually benefited from COVID from a business standpoint because of the stuff is all natural. And then like we do a tea where it's hemp, elderberry, which is great for your immune system, hibiscus, stevia, let's see, hemp, elderberry, stevia, hibiscus. Yeah, just 4 ingredients, and people loved it.
Okay.
So we started getting a whole lot of sales and stuff like that. And then with the other products as well, because they're all natural, and designed to enhance what people were doing. And
Yeah.
I think what COVID has taught us from like a business perspective is, one, you have to learn how to pivot.
That is true. That is true.
Because you don't know, anything can happen in business.
That's true too.
And you have to try to prepare yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because service industries were affected real hard, retail industries were affected real hard, traveling industries were affected a lot, and some of them didn't come back.
That's true. Yeah.
So as businesses, we have to always prepare. So learning that, what have you been able to put in place now that you probably necessarily didn't have in place then?
So I think probably the main thing is just the retail aspect of it. Actually having a physical product that people need. There's a need for it, and having the ability where people can purchase it either online or through other avenues, Amazon and things of that nature. Whereas before COVID, I was more so focused on the services and just trying to get as many people in the door as possible. But when you're closed for 2 months and you're a service-based industry, you need to have products, things that people need. And so I think during that time in 2020, I launched a line of waist trainers. People were at home, people were trying to work out and do those things. So the waist trainers did very well during that time. And then the skincare products too. So I have a full skincare line. It's natural, organic. People can order them. So if you're dealing with skin issues from the mask or just irritation, now you have a natural product. I wasn't as focused on that part of it before. But now I realize you have to have a retail of some sort. So if somebody's in Kansas, they can go online and order something. They don't necessarily have to come in the door. I did not realize that, how important that was before the shutdown.
And I've noticed, the first thing that I noticed is that your packaging changed. And it's way more polished.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. To me, that shows growth. And I love it, because I remember seeing some of your jars where and there was nothing wrong with it, but it was just the first.
It was the baby.
It was the baby.
It was
exactly.
the baby.
So we're going with that and opening another location. I look at it like this, even though it's inside of here, this is still a separate business.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And I will admit that sometimes I can lose track of this aspect of it because I'm so focused on the clients and the experience. But I do have someone who constantly reminds me to, focus on my products, focus on the products. And just here recently, we just partnered with Walmart. So now our organic line will be inside of Walmart, which is another level in itself. So just trying to continue to grow the products where that is accessible for people anywhere. So
is that in all the stores nationwide, or is that we got small?
So basically, we're gonna do a few stores here in Georgia, but then it will be on their website. So if you go to Walmart.com,
testing it out,
exactly,
see how the brand stands the test of time, and then if you can grow it, then which is great, because I tell people all the time, and I know you. And this is I can get into these type of conversations with you because you're a business owner and you've been in business for a while now, and you have a multitude of revenue sources, and you're at a whole other level than someone just starting out. But a lot of people get the misconception of, I want to go big real quick, and say if you get a purchase order from Walmart and they want 50,000 units, can
you even supply that?
Exactly.
I mean that's the thing. And too, we all want to be, a $1 million plus company and do all of these great things, but you do have to be realistic. You have to be realistic, and you have to give yourself time to grow into that. And I think that's a lot of people are just impatient. We want it now, quick. You want to, as soon as you open all of these things, and it's just, you setting yourself up for failure.
Yes.
And just even doing this deal with Walmart, I was so scared. I literally could not sleep.
It's a new parameter for you now.
It is, and now I'm just even.
And like because you go into the situation and like Walmart be like, yay, we want you or whatever, and everything is fine with that. But you look at it like, wow, this is Walmart.
Exactly.
They've been knowing what they're doing. They have the resources to even know the knowledge and the lingo and all that. And here you are, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know any of those things.
Ground up. Exactly.
Exactly. And then I'm thinking too, if this product, when we launch, I think we're launching mid-April.
Okay.
If it just, blows up, can I handle the demand? I don't know. I feel like I can, but that's in the back of my mind. So, I do want to start small. Of course, I would love to say, oh, we're in every store. Me alone at this stage right now, I know that I can't do that just yet.
You wouldn't even be able to service your clients.
Exactly.
You have to focus on that 100%. I don't think people understand that.
Exactly.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
So with that, you're expanding in multiple ways. So you got the second location in Buckhead.
Yes.
So what made you want to open up a second location and why that particular area?
So once we started to grow here, I knew in my mind that what I had was a great idea. And I couldn't quite understand where I wanted to go with the business, but my long-term goal is that I would love for Jazz It Up to be a franchise.
Okay.
So with our clients now, the majority of them travel to us. So in thinking, if someone is on the north side of town, this is a good way to come, especially with traffic and things of that nature, but our clients do it. And I wasn't looking in Buckhead specifically, but it just kind of fell in my lap. And when it fell in my lap, I can be a bit impulsive sometimes. And I had to take advantage of it. So it just kind of gives people on that side of town another option. And then, if people on this side of town want to go that far, we just want to make it convenient. So, I wouldn't want someone to say, oh, it's too far away. Well, you can always go to the one in the city. Or if you work in the city and, you want to come after work. We just want to make it convenient for people. But now that one is open, in my mind, I feel like there should be a Jazz It Up in every city. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards.
One of the questions I was going to ask you, and that prompted that was, as you do business and you start to see the success of business, and we change and we evolve. We stop thinking as like this big. And then start thinking like, okay, this big.
Yeah.
And as long as we get comfortable with that, like where do you see it like going, or do you see it stopping at any particular point? Because you have 20 locations, or like you said, a franchise model. Like how big is that franchise model? Is that nationwide, or do you want that to be international now?
I mean, it could very well be international. I believe so. I haven't thought it that far yet. But I don't see why not. I mean, we put limitations on ourselves. And, even on this side of town, I know that when we move from this space, we're going to move into a larger spot. So I want one kind of big central location, and then all the other ones don't necessarily have to be as big and grand. But yeah, I could definitely go anywhere. And I was talking with my brother who just purchased a salon suite type of building in New York. And the first thing I said was, I want to be in there. And so he's like, well, how are you going to be there? Let me figure it out. But Jazz It Up will be in New York. So, we put these limitations on ourselves, but I definitely believe that this could be an international company.
That's
for
what's
sure.
up. See, and that's the thing I love about it, because you're growing with the company and you're not trying to stifle it.
Right.
So in essence, you're building an empire.
I'm working on it. Yes,
you are. This is like the cornerstone. This is where it all starts.
And it sounds crazy, and sometimes
not to me.
But not to you.
Not to me.
But
but I get it though.
Right.
That's
See,
what I was
other
gonna
people,
ask.
they're like, you want to do what? And so I tend to keep things a little close to my chest, and I'm just like, oh yeah, by the way, because a lot of times people don't understand the vision.
People call people stuff like that, like, oh, go for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I tell people all the time, I don't want anyone to live regret, right? Live life with any type of regret. Go for why not shoot for the stars?
Absolutely.
I mean, you're there. The only thing you can do is miss.
Absolutely.
So what if you don't get it there?
It's all a learning curve. So if you do something and it don't go the way that you plan, okay, now you kind of know what to do a little better the next time. And even with Buckhead, I was scared. I couldn't sleep at night. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? How's it going to work? And I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine, and my friend said, what's the worst that could happen? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I was so afraid of. But it's scary. Anytime you're stepping out and doing something, you know, even slightly out of your comfort zone. And I'm just thinking, like, what if people don't come? And, you know, what if I can't find the right staff? And all of these things. But we have to change our mindset and start thinking about.
Those are just processes.
Yeah.
I have, like, I'm always talking to fellow business owners, and I'm telling them, like, for our council business to run as smoothly as it does, it took us a nice little time to get there, but we've been there for about 3-4 years now with a core team of folks, and you have to go through the process. And like I was talking to a couple who have the Browns, they have this space called 44th and Madison, and it's in Warner Robins. And they took over, like, this inside this plaza. It's at least 7,000 square feet, renovated and everything, like at least 40,000 worth of renovations and all that.
Wow.
Talking about Black Excellence, it's really nice.
Really?
And they do a lot of different events and stuff like that. And I was talking to the husband, and I was like, man, you have to go through the process of, like, you know, hiring folks. I understand that, you know, it's hard sometimes to find the right folks. But once you do, though, it's well worth it. Because you get to elevate your business to a whole nother level, and we can't pigeonhole everything. The more control we give up as far as just tasks like that that would be suited for other people allows us to focus on bigger clientele and bigger contracts.
That is very true, but it's so hard.
It is.
It is so hard. And I remember a friend of mine telling me, you have to get out of the hamster wheel. And I was just like, no, but I want to come to work and I want to service all the clients and I want to know everyone personally. And then I realized, like, you can't. You just can't. But it's hard to, like, give your baby to someone, you know, but it is part of the process.
It is. And every big company, you know what I'm saying, has gone through it. Big, mid-size, you know. And I tell people, like, according to, like, the FDA, not the FDA, but the federal guidelines for businesses, a small business is a business that does, like, you know, $10,000 a year up to $22 million. So you still consider it a small business when you're doing $22 million annually. And then you jump into, like, the mid-sized business range, and then of course, you know, the big companies and conglomerates and all that or whatever. But I'm like, you know, we can grow this stuff. Just think, if we have that economic threshold, and we have companies that are that huge, the type of change we can make in a community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And too, when you're thinking about it, you're creating jobs for other people. So, you know, it's one thing to say, oh, I have my own business, and you work alone, and, you know, you make all your money and then you go home. But when you're creating jobs for other people and other opportunities for other people, essentially that's what it's all about. Because, you know, just to come in to work by yourself, you're not making a huge impact. So, you know, and that's something that I am proud of, the fact that I do have, I don't call them employees, but I have the people, our family, and we work together, and it's helping them create a life for themselves, you know, and it's the growth process. And I always say, like, you know, we're small right now, but if you guys stay with me as I grow, we grow together, and you never know what this can turn into.
You don't. It's the potential is limitless.
Absolutely.
The only limit is our imagination.
Absolutely,
So, do you set goals for the business now, and how is it managing multiple locations and the retail?
It's crazy.
You're honest. I love it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Most days I don't necessarily know, if I'm coming or going, but I always manage to get it done. And I feel like right now it's just crazy because it's all so new. So like we just opened the second location this month. So
Okay.
yeah, so it's all so new. Eventually I'm gonna find the groove of things and trying to manage being, where I need to be. But it's a journey, and I do set goals. But typically what I do is, if something comes to my mind, it doesn't matter what it is. Like something comes to my mind, I just focus on that thing. I'm almost
you're like me.
obsessive about it until I accomplish it, and then it's like, okay, the next thing. I don't know if that's a good way to be or not, but I do tend to.
You know how to, like we said before, there's multiple ways of getting a get.
That is true.
As long as you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you know what you want to accomplish, I don't see where that would be an issue.
Yeah.